Hey there, this is Mercedes with Willow Creek Hand-Tied Flies, and I'm going to teach you how to tie one of my top-selling stoneflies. This is a pretty simple pattern, so it may be something a beginner or moderately skilled fly tyer can learn. Today I'm going to add some pop to this fly by tying it in a deep purple. I also tie this fly in black and olive. Okay, so to begin this fly, we're going to use the Umpqua Timeco nymph hook. Model 5263, size 12. And a bead head, Cyclops bead eyes, and that size is going to be 1/8. What those look like. All my stuff is separated, sorry about that. That on there. Our thread today, Ultra Thread 70 in purple, UTC thread right there. Do our beginning grab. Nip that. Then we are going to use stripped goose bits in black, and we'll be using 6 of these today. The first 2 that we're going to take off, we're going to put in an X, like so. Place it onto the base of the curve of your hook and tie it on. Give it a few wraps. Want it to sit. You might have to adjust it a little to make sure. There we go. To make sure it gives a split tail just like a stonefly. There we go. Trim off the excess part of that biot. Then what we're going to do is use a thin skin, and this color is Mottled Oak Natural. That's what that looks like. And what I usually do is use a razor blade to cut off a piece with a little bit of an angle. So we're going to use that and tie on the most narrow part at the edge. Oops. I really like to have that shiny side up, so make sure you do that. There we go. Make sure you get to the edge where your tail starts. Then we're going to add a little bit of dubbing at a time. I like to use this really beautiful purple. Just do a really thin strip. We'll add more. And we want the tail to be very narrow and get a little wider. I'm just building some base now. And go back toward your tail. Does not need to be perfect, as we'll be going further along. You're going to want to get maybe 1/8 of an inch to where you started your thin skin. Flip your thin skin over and give it 2 wraps. Flip it back. Go a little, maybe another 1/8. Flip it over and give it 2 wraps. That's going to give you sort of that scale start right there. Then you're going to want to add more dubbing. A little bit thicker bit of dubbing this time. Give yourself some gradual gradual growth in the body. And wrap down. Now, I have a little bit of a wider gap between where the thin skin lays right now and where we're going to tie on our first set of legs. Take those biots again, 2 of them, and when I set these, I like to set them with the body here, and so they're sort of angling out. I'll show you that here in just a second. So separate the 2 and put them on the sides right there. You're going to want these to come out maybe a 1/4 inch depending on your preference. Can be a little more. I like to put them in on one wrap, adjust them while your thread is still loose. You're going to want them perfect. That's what you want it to look like right there. Give it a second wrap, then you can pull your thin skin over, making sure it goes between the legs, and give that 2 more wraps. Flip your thin skin again. You're going to want to trim the excess parts of these legs. You can give yourself a little room on there because we will be covering this with dubbing. And here we go again. Gradually building that body up. Pick about your halfway point in the remaining part of the fly, and we're going to do the same exact thing, add another set of legs. So you take your 2 biots, oops, that's 3. Separate them, make sure they are facing out. There's 1, 2, that's what you're going to have as of right now. Turn that, flip your thin skin over, give it 2 wraps, tighten yourself, flip it back again. A lot of back and forth going on here. Add your last bit of dubbing. Just go with what you're comfortable with this body. I like to make them nice and fat for some hungry trout. Pull your thin skin again, give it your final wrap, and this right now we are up against the bead head. And give yourself a few wraps to tighten that. At this point I do like to whip finish without trimming the thin skin, just because I like to have a little bit of security. So do yourself a couple of whips. Tighten. You can do one more if you're makes it a little bit more comfortable. There you go. Trim your thread. Now, this is the point where you can decide, right after you trim that thin skin off, you can decide to keep the remaining parts of the legs of the lost biots, or you can cut them off. In this case, we're going to trim them off completely. I don't always do that. Give yourself some head cement, just a drop, right? Maybe trim any wild parts, pieces of dubbing you have over there, or don't. There you go. that is our finished purple stonefly.